For this assignment, I want you to try drawing some generic facial features just to practice. And these are not going to be your facial features. This is, again, just generic to practice. And then I want you to apply this information to your own drawing when you're drawing yourself. So we'll start with the eye. Most eyes on the top are fairly even arch. They just kind of arch up and down. Not all of them, but most of them. And most eyes also on the bottom do not arch down the same as they do on the top, like this. So that's kind of like a football shape, and most eyes don't quite look like that. More often than not, it's going to look more like this, where the bottom edge kind of goes more straight, even curving up a little bit before coming back down and then back up. Notice the difference between the top arch and the bottom, which is a little bit more horizontal with some different kinds of curves in there. So avoid the football shape. Another thing students do wrong oftentimes is draw the iris as an oval. Instead, you want to draw it as a circle, but the circle of the iris will get overlapped by both eyelids, especially the top one. So you're going to draw basically a perfect circle that might rest pretty close to the edge of the bottom eyelid and go well past the top eyelid. But if you could see this whole thing, this would be a circle rather than an oval. The pupil also needs to be in the center of where that circle is, not the center between here and here, but the center between where the top of that iris really is and the bottom of the iris, which would be about here. So I want you to add that pupil. And then one more thing I want you to add is the upper eyelid where it's folded back in. It might look something like this. And then I want you to try adding eyelashes. Usually on the bottom, eyelashes are much shorter and fewer. Pay attention to which direction yours actually go when you're drawing your own eye. On this one, it doesn't matter too much. Upper eyelashes are going to be a lot longer, and don't make them just go like straight up into the air here. You don't want it to look like SpongeBob SquarePants eyelashes. Usually they kind of, if they start here, they kind of curve down, down and out, down and out. Kind of swooping them to the outside. And as they get closer to this inside corner, usually eyelashes are not going all the way in here. All right, so that's the eye. So that's all I want you to do. Practice an eye like that. Then moving on to a nose. Usually what I do is I draw a nose from the center tip of the nose and swoop out to the side for a nostril. Then do the same thing going the other way. And then you're going to draw the outer edge of the nostril, kind of wrapping around like that on both sides. That's a little rough on that side, but make sure you do it like this and not like this. So this is what to avoid. So you have the nostrils and the tip of the nose. So don't do this. See the difference? You need to have a little bit of space between the nostril and the edge of the nose, like this, as opposed to no space between them here. All right, let's do that, not do that one, but do it more like this. And I want to do one more down here and show you something else as well. So real quick, got the nose, the outside of the nose, and then if you continue that nose shape up, it's getting smaller and smaller as it goes up, and then eventually it goes into the eyebrow area, which gets wider. So eyebrows would be kind of in these areas, and eyes would be here. So right here, this is the narrowest part of the nose, usually right between the eyes. and it gets wider as it goes down, obviously, but also as it goes up into the eyebrow areas. When you sketch this on your project, basically between here and here, you don't really want a line there, okay? Here, you're gonna have some shading that's kind of dark, and it goes under the eye and above the eye. That's gonna help define the edge of this nose. Down here, you're gonna have some shadow that will help define where the edge of the nostril is. But in here, if you look at yourself in the mirror, you're not gonna see a line here, and you're not gonna see a big shadow on this side. So pay attention to the shading here to here and the gradation that you might see there, but just avoid having a dark line on the edge of the nose there. And lastly, so anyway, just try to draw a nose kind of like this using those steps. And lastly, a mouth. When you're drawing a mouth, I usually start with if it's a closed mouth, let's say, I usually start with the space between the upper and the lower lip, and usually draw it as sort of almost an M shape, like a capital letter M that's really stretched out. And the upper lip will sort of follow that same path, kind of like that. The lower lip usually has a different shape, and it's usually a little bit bigger. Not always, but at least on this generic mouth, you can do that. Notice how the corner of the mouth sometimes looks like it overlaps the pink part of the lip here. On your actual mouth, it may not do that. On your actual mouth, your upper lip might be bigger than the lower lip. But for this assignment, I want you to draw it pretty much like this. Okay, so again, you're going to practice drawing an eye similar to this one, practice drawing a basic nose shape, and then practice drawing a mouth using those same steps. Take a photo of that. That can be on the same page as your burnishing page, and turn in that photo for this assignment.